Hey folks, welcome back, or of course, welcome to Lone Pine Tarot for the first time if you're new here. And as I always say, thank you so much for joining me for our pick a card reading today, which the topic is themed kind of around the season, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere at the time of the upload of this video, which is just on the cusp of autumn. And of course, as you can tell by the title you clicked on, that topic is what cycle in your life is finally closing. Quite straightforward. So today we were picking with 3 different tarot decks. For pile number 1 over here on the left, you're choosing with the Tarot of the Divine, and here is your 9 of Wands from that deck. For pile 2 here in the middle, you're choosing with the deck Tarot Landscapes. Here is your 9 of Wands from that deck. And last but not least, for our wonderful pile number 3, you're choosing with the Ostara Tarot for your deck. And here is your 9 of Wands from that particular deck. So refresher, pile 1, Tarot of the Divine. Pile 2, Tarot Landscapes. And pile 3 is the Ostara Tarot, though as I always say, you're perfectly welcome to pause right here if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you. If you're new to pick a card readings and you want my suggestion on a choosing method, or perhaps you just want to take a nice peaceful moment out of your stressful, busy day, please follow my voice right now. So close your eyes, take in a deep cleansing breath, imagine light filling your lungs as you do so, then hold it for just a moment or two. And then when you breathe back out again, open your eyes, and out of these 3 different piles, where are your eyes drawn most first? What feels right down in your gut when you look at these 3 options? And that is the pile I recommend you choose. Whenever you are ready, of course, drop down to the description box below or the top pinned comment, find the timestamp for your pile, and I'll see you in our chat about what cycle in your life is finally closing. See you in the reading. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 1. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the cycle in your life that's finally closing. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the Tarot of the Divine for your deck today. Now, as we always do when we pick with tarot decks, I like to put the pile leader right back into the deck so that it's available for the first shuffle. Beginning now, contacting Spirit for the highest, best good. Oopsie, that was not the best shuffle in the entire world. Apologies to you and Spirit. Alright, Spirit, let's redo. For the highest, best good of pile number 1. There we go, that one was better. What would you like to tell them about the cycle of their life that's finally coming to a close? What door is closing in their life, and where is it going? Thank you. Okay, we've got 2 that just popped out here, beginning. So we have the 3 of Pentacles and the 7 of Wands. We'll talk about those in a moment, pile 1. Beautiful. There's the other 3 cards, and then we will also pull 1 of the Oracle cards to begin as well. Spirit, anything else you want to say about what area of their life this is related to? Apparently, I'm not very good at shuffling today. Forgive me, pile 1. Here we go. Guess I've got butterfingers. You ever had just one of those days, pile 1, where you just get like butterfingers and you just are a klutz the entire day? I'm having one of those days today. Right there. Thank you, Spirit. And then you receive, flexibility. We have, looks like a tiger with bamboo. That is a very beautiful card. Okay. Now let's get our ducks in a row. So this is card number 1. We had the 3 of Pentacles. Card number 2 was the 7 of Wands. I'm going to put your flexibility over here to the left to begin. And then let's unveil the last 3 tarot cards. So the Heart of the Matter card today is the Page of Cups reversed. Okay, a little bit of water energy coming up here. Then we have the Queen of Wands. Lots of fire energy too. And then last but not least, we have the 7 of Cups. Beautiful, especially as an outcome card. Okay, so let's look at this more closely, pile number 1, in further detail. So we're talking about, as you know, based on the title you clicked on, this is a cycle coming to a close. I think there's some area of your life, pile 1, recently that has been a bit, what's the word I want to use? restricted, maybe that's a better way to put it. There's some area of your life where I feel like you've been boxed in. You feel like you've been kind of been like caged. You feel like you've been held back. You feel like you've been kind of maybe not fully utilized, or there's a part of yourself that feels like yeah, I mean, I guess just to summarize pile number one, it's like feeling like you're stuck in the cage, especially because of the way that I see this tiger. Now, I know the word for this particular card is flexibility, and yes, we will talk about like how that impacts this reading, but imagery-wise, at least, at first, what I see here is like the tiger is kind of like in this cage, like this narrow pathway of this bamboo growing around him or her, and the beautiful thing, though, is that the tiger's almost at the end of the tunnel, almost right there where things open up again, and there's not so much of like a feeling of enclosure. It's like you being the tiger stuck in a zoo, stuck in a cage, restricted and held back, and especially because of the presence of the Three of Pentacles, which is the very first card that came out for you, pile one. I see that as what I call the inciting incident card. That's what's kind of started everything, or like where you're coming from. That's a card of teamwork, or like people working together on things. I feel like part of it is that I don't get a bad feeling necessarily out of the people that you've been working with on whatever this is. It's just like maybe they're kind of at like a different level than you, or like you don't necessarily have the same alignment of goals, or there's just some sort of miscalibration between you and the other people that you're working with in life, which could literally mean like your job, especially because of the pentacle suit, meaning, you know, it's often related to like career and finances and those things, but just in general too, there's like maybe a misalignment between you and the people that you're working with, especially because when I see the particular depiction of this Three of Pentacles, we have someone in the foreground who looks like they're kind of doing all the work, they're doing all the dancing, all the singing, etc. And then there's like two people in the back that, forgive me, I don't necessarily know what specific culture this is from, but they've got kind of, you know, monstrous looking masks on their face. So it's like they're aligned, but then the person in the foreground who's doing all the work is like not of the same species or not of the same kind of being. And that doesn't mean that you can't work well together. It's just like in this particular instance, I feel like it's been caging you. I feel like you've been held back by these other people. And especially too, because you have the Seven of Wands next. I believe that is the folktale of the American John Henry. I think that's his name, who worked very, very hard to outpace I think it was the steam engine when it came to digging a tunnel through a mountain for a railroad, if I'm still correct on that folklore. And that's literally what the Seven of Wands means. It's feeling like there's so many things against you, feeling like you're racing against the clock, you're racing against other people. Sometimes it's even kind of like an unfair type of battle. Like you feel like everything is not stacked in your favor. And so it's like that cycle of people that don't align with you very well, and that cycle of feeling like everything's kind of stacked against you despite how hard you work, that's coming to a close. So for some of you, this restricted, caged feeling might be the particular job that you're in, right? You know, maybe you've been looking for better opportunities elsewhere that are further aligned with what you actually want from life. Or it could even be like staying at the same particular job if you're in one that you most of the time but being assigned to a project that allows you this greater leadership, like flexibility, right? That's where the flexibility term comes in, right? This is where I'm seeing you going in terms of away from, you know, this cycle of, you know, oh, I'm caged, I'm stuck with these people I don't necessarily align with, and then now everything opens up. Because right now you have the Page of Cups reversed as like your present position card, and the Page of Cups reversed in like a present position, pile one, can represent a time where we feel like we're not actually exploring what we want to in terms of our heart, in terms of our emotion. It's like your heart is not even really in it either. So that's like another thing I feel like you're walking away from, is this feeling of not just, you know, stuck, misaligned with other people who are involved, feeling like everything's against you, but your heart is just not really in it either. And where this is leading, pile number one, because you might ask, okay, well, yeah, that's great that I'm leaving that behind, but what am I going towards that's better? And this is where your reading really shines in the spread that you were given. You have the Queen of Wands and you have the Seven of Cups as the outcome. So the Queen of Wands, pile number one, is someone who especially works really well. Not that she doesn't work well with others, but I kind of see a Queen of Wands as like a feminine power energy of working well independently. She's kind of like a leader in her own right. She's charismatic. She's ambitious with her own passions. She has kind of like that fire being reignited that was lacking here with the Page of Cups reversed, of feeling like, I'm not really exploring what I want to do, what my heart is in, And then you have the total opposite with the Queen of Wands in the near future of, okay, my fire has been lit. I feel passionate about this thing, and now I'm going to go forward. And 2, with the Seven of Cups as the explanation here, pile 1, as the outcome, right, is the ability to have a choice of some sort. We see that restrictedness in the very beginning, opening up just like the tiger at the end of the bamboo path. There's that light at the end of the tunnel. There's that option, that choice coming your way. Because the Seven of Cups is like choosing between, at least in this kind of reading, it's like choosing between different wishes. What do you really desire? What's really the best path for you? So it's just like you've been stuck on the single road, the little bamboo grove path. Everything's restricted. Everything feels like it's closing in. And then it's like this whole wide world just opens up. There's far more choice, and there's far more like variability. And 2, on top of that, pile 1, you might also find that you have the option to find projects with like other people, or like a job with other people that you do actually feel more aligned with too. So that path opening up metaphor might not just be literally the paths opening up to you, but like the people available and opening up to you too. Though I do see maybe a lot of you, this might be kind of more of a solo thing compared to like the teamwork of what was before with the Three of Pentacles, because of that Queen of Wands, because she's such a good, especially if any of you are doing anything entrepreneurial, a Queen of Wands is fantastic with that type of work. She's wonderful with like, if you're looking for like advice or like a good forecast for entrepreneurial type things, because, she's a feminine power figure that is motivated by her ambition. What is she passionate about? That type of thing, okay? A far cry from the Page of Cups reversed of like, my heart's not really in it, that kind of feeling. Beautiful. Okay, let's look at some of your other cards, pile number 1. Well, actually, before we draw the other oracle cards, I want to make sure, because sometimes I draw clarifiers on these. I'm going to draw a little bit more about the future here. I want to know about the Seven of Cups a bit more. I want to just ask if Spirit could give us a bit of a glimpse into like what is available to you, like what is opening up to you. So, Spirit, for pile number 1, with my better shuffle this time, could you tell me a little bit more about the Seven of Cups for them? What is opening up to them? Like, can you give us a bit of a glimpse into the paths, the positive things? It's interesting too. I didn't realize this till now, pile number 1, but literally like John Henry, he worked so hard just to make it through one tiny tunnel for a railroad that he was trying to outpace a steam engine on, or steam machine. And then this Queen of Wands later, you literally have, forgive me, I don't remember what Polynesian goddess she is, but I think she's a goddess of like earth and or like volcanoes and whatnot. Like she literally creates land, if I'm not mistaken. And so basically it's like you went from this position of struggling just to get through this one tunnel of earth, and then now it's like you can literally move and make mountains, just like this particular Polynesian goddess. And so I just noticed that when I was pulling your cards. Let's see. So the clarifier on the Seven of Cups too, don't want to forget about that. Feeling this one right here. Okay, we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Okay, so normally this would be a negative card, pile number 1, but I did ask, like, what are, like, the positive things coming, like, what's opening up for you? So, more ability for, like, good things to come your way. It feels like where you're at right now with this cycle, it's like there's a lot of barriers to good things happening that are out of your control, whereas like with this Seven of Cups clarified by the Wheel of Fortune reversed, it's like then it will finally be in your control. You'll have the choice to actually like follow your fortune and follow good things rather than feeling you're kind of stuck. Does that kind of make sense, pile number 1? And then I'll draw a second card, a clarifier, the Moon, another major arcana. Okay, so the Moon is all about illusions, pile number 1. I think maybe where you're at right now, there's also a facet of things not being what they seem, because that's the main quality of the Moon in tarot. It's almost like maybe sometimes you get assigned a project, or like maybe the whole entire job itself, or however this applies to you, it was portrayed to you in a certain way, but then you got down to like brass tacks and the nitty gritty and you're like, oh, this is way different than I thought it would be. Like maybe there was a bit of a deception there perhaps, or maybe it's could have just been like a misalignment of communication in terms of like maybe whoever hired you or whatever, like whoever assigned you this project, however this, I always say kind of take this how it resonates with your situation, if it is like a job, or sometimes it might not be for you. But in either case, pile 1, it's like things were just, I don't know, kind of deceptive, not what they seemed. You're like, oh, I thought this would lead to better places. I thought this would go this way. I thought I would get these benefits. I thought I would have this kind of environment. And then it's just like the rug got pulled and you're like, oh, actually, this is a lot more frustrating. I don't feel like everything here is aligned with what I really want to do. That's why your heart might not be in it with that Page of Cups reversed. Okay, so that's part of what's going to open up to you with these new paths with that 7 of Cups pile number 1 is not only like, will it be a path of greater clarity? It won't have the illusions of like the moon, like the prior path did. But also, like I said, the Wheel of Fortune gives that, that feeling of like now things will actually be more in your control of whether or not you hit like a lucky break or like good things happen, because sometimes you have those jobs, pile number 1, where especially depending on like your level of responsibility or your power at that particular position, sometimes things like just crap things happen and it's it's out of your control and you're like, man, if this had been in my control at the time that this problem had started, like, you might think to yourself, man, like, I would have fixed that right then and there. But then, instead, because you weren't in that position of power at the time, things rolled downhill. And then it's like, then you had to deal with the fallout of it. The path you're going on right now, pile number 1, after this chapter closes, you're not going to have to deal with that anymore. Okay? Especially because I think with that Queen of Wands, there's like a leadership thing here. So some of you, it actually might be a promotion. If it's not moving to a different kind of job or something that just gives you that greater power to kind of shape the landscape around you. Okay. Right there we have record or record. That is your second oracle card. We'll put that one up here next to the pine cone. Let's keep drawing your oracle cards and then we'll see what the parting advice or like kind of predictions from spirit are with this. I mean, you've been very tough, pile number 1. I'm hearing spirit really wants to pat you on the back for everything that you've been through. But, and they also want to say, pile number 1, anything that's been happening that's like that element of it being out of your control, like not to take it too hardly upon yourself. Because, I mean, a lot of the bad things that have been happening with this position or this job or whatever your situation is, I can tell spirit is just saying like that it was out of your control, pile number 1. It wasn't your fault. So don't let it dent your confidence too much. Right there. Okay. Then we have, beautiful, uncertainty, doubtful versus confident. Yes, so like I was just saying, pile number 1, speaking of confidence, right afterwards you got the card of being uncertain or confident. You're going to a path of greater confidence. It'll be a place too where you'll have less doubts. Okay, there's going to be less of that feeling of, what crap is going to happen today? Like, what's going to roll downhill now that I have to deal with that wasn't my fault in the first place? Also too, just like with the message of confidence versus like the Queen of Wands, she is a figure of confidence, right? Especially internally, like self-esteem. So I think this path too that you're entering here soon will lead to greater self-esteem and that confidence as you were talking about before. Let's grab your last card. Well, for sure this one already was like poking me in the palm, so I'm going to take it. We have surrender, worry. I'll read that off for you, pile 1. We have make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body, focus on the power of your heart, and have faith that spirit is guiding you always. Okay, so that's the other thing too. You're going to have less worries in general. I know I already talked about that, so I apologize. That's a bit repetitive, but we do have that synchronicity popping up here, pile 1, of you go from, these people aren't aligned with me, I work so hard, it feels like everything is against me, my heart is not really in it, to... And doubtful too, like you've been having a lot of doubts and worries and things like that, maybe even just a lot of stress too. You're closing that chapter to a place of greater flexibility. You're being allowed out of that cage we discussed in the beginning towards, I have more control. I have more leadership ability. I can feel more confident. I don't have to worry as much. And what's interesting here is the record or record card. I will, it's interesting because it does have a new moon in it. You can see here because it's the blackout or the blacked out moon. So it's like a new beginning of some sort too. So that's also a really good sign. Let me draw one more card of clarity on record. What do you mean by record or a record, Spirit, for pile 1? Thank you. Record. It could be maybe that some of you are moving to a job where record or like records are a big part of it. Right there, okay. We have the Three of Wands reversed. Okay, something about the plans that we've made for the future as well as the Devil. Okay, speaking of being let out of the cage. Okay, this is literally the let out of the cage card, pile 1, is the Devil reversed. Literally being freed from something being reversed, okay? And then the Three of Wands reversed is the other clarifier. Let me look at that for just a moment, pile 1. Apologies for the silence. Record. Three of Wands reversed and the Devil reversed. It'll click here. Just give me a moment. Oh, it's interesting. They're saying pile number 1. I think you are blaming yourself too much for how slow you feel like you've been going with your plans for the future. I feel like a lot of you feel like that you would have been farther along by now in some capacity or in some area of your life, and you've been maybe letting it kind of get you down. Because the record is interesting, because normally I would think, oh, it's like, oh, you're recording something or you're making a record of something. But to me, it's almost like with the explanation of the Three of Wands reversed, it's like you making a record for your life or you having made plans for your life. And you feel kind of upset because you feel like either like it went completely haywire from what you were planning or what you envisioned for the future when you were younger, or you feel like you're just not as far along with something as you think that you should be. Okay. Part of this is always like this path that you're going on after this chapter closes because of that freeing element with the Devil reverse. Like you're being let out of this cage, like these things are opening up to you instead of being stuck on this little rigid path. You're not going to feel that anymore. You're going to feel like, oh, okay, I'm good at where I'm at. I mean, I think that's also part of the surrender worry card too, because like you're not going to worry about that either anymore. I think because it's like you're going to be, instead of feeling like you're going along on someone else's ship and being stuck in or like going at the pace that someone else is setting, it's like you're going to be able to set the pace yourself. And so it's like when your destiny or like the pace is in your own hands, like you're the captain of the ship driving the wheel, pile number 1, you're going to feel like, okay, I have a certainty here that I'm going as fast as I possibly could, and it creates that greater confidence of some sort, like we were talking about with your uncertainty card and the Queen of Wands. I think that's what also will lead you to greater confidence, is because it's like you're going to finally have control over your own fate in this particular part of your life. So yeah, just in general, like I see lessened frustrations. You're closing a chapter on feeling caged up, on feeling like the people around you aren't aligned with you. A lot of you, pile number 1, I think it might be you're moving to some sort of entrepreneurial thing because of all the cards that came up. But in either case, even if it's not like a small business or self-employment type situation, you're going to have your heart more into whatever you're doing in the future versus like in the past. It felt like you were kind of going along with emotions and someone else was piloting a ship and you went along with what they were doing. And it's like now you're actually going to take the wheel into your own hands, and you're going to have that, what's the word I want to use? I guess I'll use, there's a better word out there, but it's on the tip of my tongue. You're going to have the ability to steer the ship of yourself rather than feeling like someone else is steering the ship in a direction that you don't want or at a pace that you don't want, okay? Choices will open up to you. You'll feel greater confidence. You'll worry less. I also see less stress coming in the near future too for you, okay? So I'm very happy for you, pile number 1, especially that element of feeling freed. That's also going to be great. Also, too, flexibility might be in terms of your work hours, too. I just wanted to add that on the end here. Like, literally, you might be moving to a place that allows you greater flexibility, whereas before, maybe, like, your hours were very rigid or expectations were very rigid, and it's maybe more nebulous and open here wherever you're going in the future after this chapter closes. Okay. So yes, good things, good blessings, a good path. So that was a reading for today about the chapter closing in your life, pile number 1. I hope that the reading, you liked it, number 1. And number 2, I hope that it helped you. That's what I care about the most. And if so, please like the video, comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as I always say on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 2. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the cycle in your life that's finally closing. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the beautiful Tarot Landscapes deck for your, tarot deck today. Now, as we always do when we choose with a tarot card pile leader, I like to put it right back into the deck so it's available for the message if need be. And let's now shuffle for your first spread. So calling on Spirit for the highest best good of pile number 2 today. Could you tell us more about what chapter of their life is finally closing, what cycle is coming to an end, as well as where is it going? What good things is it leading to? Thank you. Okay, we have some cards that flipped over here. I will take those as the first 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I need to draw one more card, pile number 2. Feeling drawn to this one. Okay. And then we'll also draw one of the oracle decks to begin. Thank you for your patience as I draw all your cards for you. Spirit, same thing. Can you tell us more about what area of their life this is related to, or what's the theme? Excuse me. Here we go. We have abundance, beautiful, pile number 2. Okay, so perhaps recently you've been dealing with a feeling of lack in some area of your life, and of course, as we know, abundance is the antithesis to that. Abundance is having a lot versus having none, so that's a very good sign, pile number 2. Let's keep looking at your tarot spread, unveiling the cards. So to begin, we had the 10 of Pentacles reversed come out. Okay. Interesting for first card. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Then the second card today was the 4 of Swords reversed. Okay. Third card is the Knight of Wands. Okay. Things are going to speed up. There's an element of things going faster here as a part of the closing of the chapter into the new one. Or the cycle, I should say. Then we have the Empress, beautiful. Speaking of abundance, that's one of the themes of the Empress, pile number 2, especially when it comes to nurturing things or creation type energy, being feminine energy at its most powerful. And then we have at least one little plot twist, because at least one card I was able to pull without it all just flipping over. We have Temperance reversed. Okay, so we'll talk about that more in a moment. Let's look at everything in totality here, pile number 2, so greater abundance, and especially with that 10 of Pentacles reversed as the inciting incident at the very beginning. And I find it interesting too, pile 2, you have a lot of the color green, and especially like light kind of like tea to yellow green in your spread. And of course, when we talk about color symbolism with cartomancy, we also have a lot of blue too. So blue, of course, we think of like calmness. We think of like reliability. The yellow-green, we think of like, yellow tends to be in like abundance in terms of like finances. We think of gold as in like money. Green, of course, is abundance in terms of healing and the heart and like nature, those types of things. I know this is kind of odd, pile number 2, and this isn't the main part of your message, but I do see a lot about you. I don't know if you're like going out in nature more here in the next cycle. I don't know if like in the current cycle that you're in that's coming to a close, like you've been kind of more like shut in You've been more kind of staying inside for some particular reason. Maybe you've been, some of you, I almost wonder if you're sick right now or you were recently very sick. And I know at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, when it comes to like around September or so, and kids start school again, diseases start to kind of run rampant. So that wouldn't be surprised me if some of you maybe did get like a cold or a flu recently, in which case my condolences. It's never fun to have a cold or a flu. But I do see that element of like things opening up to you in terms of like being able to go out more. And it feels like, I don't know, it's like a period of life where everything kind of turns, like you see all this kind of blue here in the very beginning. We have a little bit of green with the Four of Swords, but then all of a sudden it opens up to all this like beautiful sunlight, yellow, gold, vibrant cards at the very end. So I see that in terms of color, especially with your abundance card here, pile number 2. Just a very, it's like the life that you've been living in this previous chapter or cycle that's coming to a close. Like it felt kind of cold. It felt kind of, we talked about like shut in or kind of closed off too. And then it's like all of a sudden it opens up like this landscape, this horizon, and everything feels more like lush, and everything feels more, not to sound like a broken record, but abundant, like your abundance card. It feels like it's more ripe for opportunity and ripe for feeling this openness and this, it just feels like healthier too in terms of your heart, especially. And of course, when I say the heart, I mean, maybe literally your heart. I don't usually do health with readings, but maybe literally your heart, but also your heart in terms of like your emotional soul or your emotional center, okay? I haven't even gotten to the meanings of the cards yet. So we have abundance, and we have an inciting incident here with this 10 of Pentacles reversed. Now, the 10 of Pentacles reversed, pile number 2, can talk about a time where we feel like we're not inheriting something based on our inherent worth. Sometimes it can literally be related to family, so being an inheritance card, right? Generations passing down wealth. Maybe you've literally been having inheritance issues recently. Maybe, sometimes there's been, I've heard, when inheritance comes about, I've heard lots of stories about chaos with, who gets what, and siblings arguing with those things, etc., family members and whatnot. So maybe that's kind of like where you're coming from, is a lot of strife regarding like family inheritance, or if it's not family related, pile number 2, it could be something related to, as I said, inheritance based on inherent worth, okay? Because, what you deserve with a 10 of Pentacles card is what you're owed based on. It's like birthright, even if we don't literally mean from your family. So maybe if you feel like people haven't been giving you like the respect that you deserve just as a fellow human being recently, maybe you feel like you haven't been given the the intention you inherently deserve, as once again, as, a human being that has needs and desires and whatnot. So that's part of like what's closing. Not only this cold chapter feeling kind of cut off or closed off or that type of thing, but also feeling like other people maybe aren't reaching out to you, or feeling like disconnection from others and whatnot. And then we do have a little bit of a further explanation with the Four of Swords reversed, which is like things becoming more active. Okay, so things, I think already recently, because this is like the recent past card pile 2, like things have already started kind of waking up. You've already been feeling like that energy of winter into spring in terms of like, it's been kind of cold and kind of slow. And then all of a sudden the thaw comes and you're like, oh, okay, things are starting to go. Things are starting to wake up. And then in the middle here, you have the heart of the matter, which is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands, pile number 2, is all about taking action with our passions, taking action with what makes us feel alive, our willpower and whatnot. I think like this period of time, maybe you've been kind of waiting for the universe to kind of deliver something to you, or you've been waiting for the universe to kind of thaw everything for you. And it already has a little bit, but you're entering a time now with the closing of this cycle with the Knight of Wands as your present energy of, okay, now it's in your hands, pile number 2, to take the get up and go and take action. Because that's what knights do in tarot. They're the cards and the court cards, figures, I should say, of taking action. Okay, they race forward just like this lynx, or actually it might be a bobcat technically, is racing forward to go after some sort of prey. So too, if maybe you felt stifled in trying to attain your goals recently, that's also part of this thaw. You're going to have things opening up. You're going to be able to actually like race after something instead of feeling so, barred off and contained. Because even when you look at these previous cards here, pile number 2, we have 2 different creatures kind of meeting at the boundary of the woods there. So it's kind of like, oh, you're stuck on one side. You're kind of, there's like a barrier to something to you. And then even here in this like caldera where the ducks, I think they're ducks, are they? Yeah, they sure look like mallards, right? In this caldera are kind of like contained, like they're kind of resting. But then it opens up with the Four of Swords reversed, because it's like, okay, now we're not resting anymore. We're taking action. We're not stuck anywhere anymore. And it leads you to that greater abundance in the future. Because look at these other cards you have here, pile number 2. You have the Empress in the near future, and then Temperance reversed is kind of interesting. We'll talk about that in a moment. That might be a piece of advice card for you in like the next chapter after this cycle closes. But in general, a place of greater abundance, just like your oracle card says here. Abundance, things are thriving, things are vibrant, things open up to you as we discussed in the beginning. I think, I'm not sure what plants these are. They almost kind of make me think of pumpkins, because they have the big green leaves and there's like little orange globes. They might be pumpkins. It's hard to see with this particular art style with the lack of detail, because normally, you know what pumpkins look like. And then we have, it looks like a doe here, because she doesn't have antlers, right? She is the empress of her forest, right? We always associate does as being very close attending mothers to their children, to their fawns, right? So it's a time of greater self-care as well. A time of greater nurturing of yourself, a time of like things feeling, as I said, more vibrant and more abundant. Like, so we can see abundance sometimes in greater compensation for what you do at work. We can see abundance, and I think especially with you, pile number 2, of warmer connections, of life feeling more happy and like bright again, okay? As I said, just like that thaw of spring after the winter. Now, the Temperance card reversed is interesting. I'm actually going to pull a clarifier on both the Empress and the Temperance card reversed for you, pile 2, because I want to know specifically more about the abundance that's coming. It's been kind of vague so far, so I'll ask Spirit for some clarification on that, as well as Temperance reversed, because Temperance reversed is often about something being out of balance, okay, or something that needs more moderation. So we'll see. I want to know. Spirit, clarifier on the Empress, and then the second card clarifier on Temperance reversed. Thank you. Oh boy, well I can't take the whole deck. This one for sure is for the Empress. I know that. Apparently Spirit had lots to say. One card, please, for Temperance reversed. Okay, that one almost came out. Okay, for sure, this one. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so the Empress with the Two of Wands, beautiful. Okay, so the abundance that's coming forward, pile number 2, and literally we have this once again. It's like a whole world opening up to you. Things feeling less closed off here behind the archway, and it's like, okay, now there's this new thing you can go, this new place you can explore. And the monarch butterfly, of course, we think of butterflies as symbols of transformation in a positive way, right? Of metamorphosis. And the Two of Wands is often about the plans we make for the future. All right, just like we have these roses kind of going from sort of buds all the way to opening up here. Like, this is our plan, this is our trajectory. So the abundance is the ability to make plans. So whatever has been holding you back recently from making plans, or at least being able to like hold to them, pile number 2, that's part of the abundance coming, is like you're going to finally be able to actually like envision these plans. Because, sometimes we get so caught up in the hubbub of daily life, especially when things are stressful, when we feel like everything's kind of closed off, whatnot, or like not available to us, I guess is maybe a better way to put up closed off, that we feel like we can't make plans for the future, because really we think, well, this is just the path we have right now, right? But life throws us abundance sometimes, and then we're able to actually see possibilities. That's really a good keyword with that card. It's the abundance of possibilities opening up to you again. You're not going to feel so stuck on this certain closed off path, okay? And then the clarifier on the Temperance reversed is the Nine of Cups reversed. Finding an oasis in the desert. Interesting. So 2 reversed cards. Yes, I believe this might be some advice for after this chapter closes, pile number 2 for you. So you do have abundance of possibilities and the ability to make plans coming forward. But they're saying something here, a little tiny warning about moderation when it comes to what you think fulfills you and what you think is like a wish that you want granted. Because the Nine of Cups upright is often about wishes granted. It's about emotional satisfaction. And as I said before, Temperance upright typically was about like moderation and balance and things. Reversed, it's like there might be an inclination towards imbalance here when it comes to these dreams, when it comes to these wishes. So putting that into more, like a more, what's the word? Like kind of usable, relatable type of way of explaining it. I'll try to find like an example here. So like, for example, after these possibilities open up, say that maybe you want to start a small business. Like that might be a dream of yours because you're like, oh, finally, this abundance came in. I can actually make these plans now. The warning here might be about, like, in that case, focusing too much on this new possibility opening up to you with, say, the small business in the example. So much so that you, like, throw yourself into it to grant that wish or fulfill that desire, that it throws your life out of balance. Okay, so just summarize everything with that pile number 2. Just be aware in the near future about getting back to like too narrow of a focus. Don't get so tunnel visioned. That's the perfect word. There you go. Don't get tunnel visioned with things. Keep open to possibilities, right? Because that's the beauty of this spread. Not only will you have more paths open up to you, your piece of advice is to keep paths open up to you and not once again be stuck on this kind of like rigid path. You know, you don't want to go from one tunnel vision path to another tunnel vision. You want to keep the tunnel vision in the past, and then as you go into the future, keep those options open, right? Be open to transformation and metamorphosis like the butterfly. Okay. Interesting. Your oracle cards might also provide some more clarity, so let's draw those now, pile number 2. So this spread is, I mean, there's a little bit of like an outside change here, but I think a lot of really what your spread is talking about is more about like internal change here, pile 2. Oh, interesting. Pile 1 had this card too, record. Something about the past, new beginnings, because it is a new moon in that particular card. Let's keep drawing your oracle cards and see the whole picture in totality. Anything else you want to say, Spirit, to pile 2 about the chapters that's closing and what's coming soon? We have, the mirror. Shadow work, negligent versus loving. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's like an internal thing that's changing here. I feel like you have been doing a lot of shadow work recently, pile number 2. In which case, you're being rewarded very heavily for doing that. Shadow work is not easy. It's hard to look at our own shadow. It's hard to look at the parts of ourselves that we don't really shed underneath the light, that we typically try to keep hidden or secret. It's, I think, a greater time, too, of being in tune with yourself. I think that part of that closed offness was not maybe just to other people, or other people feeling closed off to you in the past, pile 2. It might be that this was like a time period of you being closed off with your connection or your relationship with yourself, and that's what's going to open up more, too. Okay, so we have surrender to success here, which is also a great thing. I'll read off what it says. Got another mirror. And archways. This is a really common theme in your reading. You see this, pile number 2? We have the archway here in the middle, and then we have 2 mirrors, which are kind of a similar symbolism. You know, we think of archways as gateways, right? We think of mirrors as seeing ourselves more clearly or in different facets or ways. I think you're going to a period of time where, like, before you viewed yourself in a certain way, pile 2, and then it's like in the future you're going to view yourself in a completely different way. And I think that's where your record card comes in. I think this is really similar to how pile 1's meaning of record was too, is that it's like you view your past and your story in a certain way, but because of the shadow work that you've been doing, even if it hasn't been conscious, pile 2, it's like you're going to come to this greater understanding of really what is the true record, what is the true score of everything that's been going on. And I think because of this card, the surrender to success, as I said, I'll read that in a moment, it's like you're going to see yourself more clearly, and you're going to understand that you've been more successful in ways than you expected. Because that's the thing, is like when we're afraid to do shadow work, or when we're afraid to like reflect on things, sometimes it's because we're afraid of what we're gonna see. But I think pile 2, you're you're going to find more light and more strength than you expected, or like you have done so far if you've already been doing the shadow work. Okay. So you are ready to experience abundance. So look at that. The keyword came up again. So lots of abundance coming, pile number 2. Don't look back at previous roadblocks or difficulties. Leap into an exciting new world of possibilities. And what did I say earlier about the 2 wands being about possibilities, pile number 2? Okay, so yes, I apologize. I'm a bit of a broken record with this, but we have a lot of synchronicities with your reading in that there's a lot of like repeated messages. So a lot of this closing chapter is getting rid of, that feeling of not getting what we deserve based on inherent birthright with that inheritance card with the 10 of Pentacles that came out reversed in the very beginning. Getting away from the cycle of feeling stuck or feeling like things are not active or that we're closed off or other people are closed off to us, and moving into all of a sudden, full speed ahead, the Knight of Wands, taking action on our passions towards this greater place of abundance, which has been repeated so much. So greater opportunities and possibilities, that's been repeated very often in this reading for you, pile number 2, based on the cards and the messages from Spirit, okay? Greater self-love, greater nurturing of self, too. A greater understanding, really, of what you truly want from life. And we did have, like I said, that little warning there, the little piece of advice with the Temperance reversed card and the that was the 9 of Cups reversed, I believe. Yes, the 9 of Cups reversed here with the camel and the oasis. And as I said, that was one tiny little thing about just making sure that you don't commit yourself to just one path, or at least if you do that, don't completely close yourself off to other paths, because this is really the main emphasis here. Please be open to possibilities. Please keep your options open, okay? It's like you having gone through this long hallway of never finding another door to follow, and then you come up to this, I almost want to call it like the central hall of, okay, now I have all these doors. But just because you have all these doors doesn't mean you need to choose just one to open, pile number 2, and open just that one and go through it and then never explore the others. Please explore the other doors open to you as well, and that will bring you to success. Okay. So beautiful. Lots of changes from negative things into positive things. Just with that tiny warning about be open to possibilities. Okay. Be open to abundance. Be open to the options that the universe gives to you. Wonderful. Let's see. I'm just making sure there isn't any other facet here that I didn't read, or any other messages that might pop through. Oh yes, that's one last thing I want to say to you, pile number 2. If there's any area of your life that you feel like has been slogging, or it feels like you've been moving through, I like to say moving through molasses, that's my favorite way of putting it, that also is going to speed up too. I see a lot of cards about forward momentum and coming or becoming active rather than passive. Okay, so that's another thing. Things will speed up. Things will go faster. Things won't feel like they're so stuck anymore. It's like that metaphor I used earlier of the spring after the thaw of winter. It's been kind of hibernating, kind of that wintry, cold, stuck, icy. The heat comes, aka the divine timing of the universe, thaws everything, and all of a sudden it's like everything is flowing, and things are just so much easier. Okay. So that is your reading for today about the chapter that's closing, pile number 2, as well as kind of where it's leading, right? Lots of good things. So I hope most of all that you liked it and that it helped you. That's what I care about most. If so, please like the video, comment down below, or subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as is our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, pile 2. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 3. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the cycle in your life that's finally closing. And as you recall, you were drawn to the Ostara Tarot as your deck today. Now, when we choose with tarot deck pile leaders, I like to put your card right back into the deck so that it is available for the first tarot spread if Spirit deems so. Okay, speaking of Spirit, calling on a message for pile 3 today. Can you tell us more about the chapter or cycle of their life that's finally closing and where it's leading for their highest, best good? Thank you. Excuse me. Beautiful. we will draw from here. Okay, there's your tarot spread, pile 3, and we're also going to draw one of the oracle decks to begin. So Spirit, what area of their life or theme does this closing cycle have, and where is it going? Okay, pile 3. Healing chaos. Beautiful to start the reading. So Spirit is saying the theme of this chapter closing and where it's going, like the next door opening, is all about healing chaos. So I don't know if recently you've been having a lot of like chaotic issues in your life. Maybe it feels like a lot of things have just been going wrong. Maybe like a lot of sudden repairs in your house, or problems at work, or in any way that chaos can manifest in your life, pile 3. That's what's coming to an end. I can tell you that right off the bat. That chaos is finally going to, just like literally like a tornado having swept through and everything is just kind of frantic and frenzied for a while. It passes through and then the sun shines, the storm is over, and you're like, oh, okay, the chaos is done. Okay, so I can tell you that. Really good thing right off the bat. But let's, of course, look at your tarot cards to get more explanations. So beginning for the inciting incident, we have the Empress reversed. Okay. Makes total sense for the very first card. I'll explain all of these later. We have the 10 of Swords. I believe that is reversed, yes. Yep, 10 of Swords reversed. You thought it was the end of something, but it was not. We have the 5 of Wands reversed. Yes, definitely a good sign of less chaos as well. We have the 3 of Wands here reversed, and we have the 5 of Pentacles reversed. Also an awesome card to get. Interesting, though. We might have a little bit of advice in the near future with the 3 of Wands reversed, but everything here so far, pile 3, looks pretty good, especially because of the cards in the particular placements that they're in. So we already talked about your Oracle card. The theme here of this chapter closing, and then what's coming soon is the healing of chaos from a chaotic chapter, right? But we do have some more explanation with the Empress reversed, and especially the 10 of Swords reversed. I don't know, pile 3, if you recently went through, well, the 10 of Swords reversed can manifest in different ways. Sometimes it can mean that you recently went through a betrayal of some sort, or it's like you were kind of recovering from a betrayal, someone stabbing you in the back, just like, literally the sword stabbing into this poor whale, right? Sometimes it can also mean that like something came to an end that you thought would be like, oh god, this is like the nail in the coffin, or something literally did come to an end and it was, you thought, man, I don't know how I'm going to pick up after this. Maybe that's where a lot of this chaos has come from, whatever this like tornadic, or I should say tornado moment has been. And especially too with the Empress reversed. That is an inciting incident card, can suggest that this period of time or cycle that's closing has also been a period of time of like a lack of nurturing, a lack of good fertile soil for the things that you want to grow or the things that you want to do. Or sometimes it could even indicate that maybe you've been neglecting self-care recently as well, just because of everything that's been going on. You're like, you can't even take care of yourself because you've been having to take care of everything else, or in general, it's like just, I can see it's been a bad time for you, pile number 3. The Empress reversed next to the 10 of Swords reversed is like, ugh, not so good. Chaotic, not a good place to grow or to try to grow the things that you're trying to do. Also, feminine energy with the Empress reversed can indicate that the feminine energy has been out of balance, and that in the way that it can manifest, literally, pile number 3 is the self-care we talked about. It could also mean a time of, or I should say lack of self-care. It can also mean a time of like feeling kind of smothered or feeling like, oh man, I can't, I don't know. Like it can mean that literally you've been leaning too much into masculine energy too and neglecting the feminine side of things. And that does happen when chaos is going on in our lives, pile number 3. No, I'm not saying masculine energy is bad. It is not. Just like feminine energy, they're both good when they're in balance. But the problem is when we lean too much into masculine energy and neglect feminine energy, we can, have that lack of self-care. We can have that lack of self-love. We can feel like we're not attending to everything in our lives that needs that kind of soft, nurturing energy. Just like you would tending a garden, say. Maybe this chaos has been driving you away from weeding the garden and away from watering the flowers. And, using that as a metaphor, pile 3, the flowers meaning like, different people in your life or different projects in your life, etc. Things that you want to get done or you want to grow. And then too much masculine energy is, yes, doing things too harshly. Having to take more action rather than thinking through things like slowly in terms of like, how do you feel about it? And that does happen with chaos, pile number 3. So it's not spirit, wagging a finger at you and saying, well, how dare you do this? It's very understandable with what's been going on, why you would have to lean more into masculine power rather than feminine. But that's the beauty of this chapter closing, is now you're moving into a time of greater recovery, of being able to partake in more self-care for yourself, and also your ability to care for the things that you do, care about elsewhere in your life, like the people around you, or the project that you're trying to come to like fruition, goals you have, etc. And then too, especially with the explanation of the Ten of Swords reversed, it's like you finally getting to a point of, okay, now I've overcome the picking up of the shrapnel left behind after this bad thing occurred, okay? Because it's not just the bad thing happened, the chaos happened, pile number 3. It's the having to clean up afterwards that's also kind of frustrating. So that's also part of the cycle that you're bringing to a close here, is now you're finally at this point of, okay, I've cleaned up all the shrapnel, the tornado came through, I picked up all the pieces, now I can move forward. And the other beautiful thing here, pile number 3, is right at the cusp of this cycle closing, you have the 5 of Wands reversed. And that means being able to finally put down the sword, or I guess wand in this case, and wand meaning a symbol as of like having to use that masculine energy because it is fire, right? Wands are fire in tarot. Being able to put down that, sometimes it might even have encroached on like harshness, not like you're been bad or anything, pile number 3, but you can finally rest a bit. You can finally kind of sit down and be like, okay, now I can recover from whatever this was. So you're entering into a lot quieter time, a lot more steady and peaceful of a time, all right. And interestingly enough, though, you have the 3 of Wands reversed and the 5 of Pentacles reversed in the near future. Now, the 3 of Wands reversed might be a little bit of advice, as I think I mentioned that before. And this sounds odd, I think you might be the type of person, pile number 3, that when things have been chaotic and you've had to put your plans on pause, you might be the type to be like, oh God, I got off the rails. Oh my God, I need to jump right back in and I need to go forward with my plans. This is a piece of advice from Spirit with this new chapter cycle coming in, to maybe don't go so fast with your plans in the future. Keep going on them, keep having your dreams and your goals, don't get me wrong, but a 3 of Wands reversed can mean stopping taking action on the plans that we've made, okay? And I think that's also reflective of that rest I see coming for you. It's like a time of greater, just take care of yourself and don't worry so much about ambition in the near future, pile number 3, okay? And one of the reasons why is because you have the 5 of Pentacles reversed here. That as an outcome is fantastic, because literally pile 3, it means overcoming a hardship, and especially surrounding like hardships regarding like your career or your finances or your stability, safety, things like that, because it is the Pentacle suit, which is related to those areas of life because it's the Earth suit, right? So it's a little bit less fire, a little bit less putting out fires, because especially look at all these wands you have, right? Less fire and more, okay, earth. Things are a little bit calmer again. I can rejuvenate. Okay, so don't feel afraid to take more time to reflect and rest in the near future, okay? There's no need to go full speed ahead after this chapter closes. Take time to recuperate after the tornado of chaos, whatever that was for you specifically that went on, okay? I mean, just like, I'm from the Midwest, so of course when I think of tornadoes, I think of literally like a tornado ripping across the prairie and tearing a farm apart, right? Which, unfortunately, that sounds dramatic, but that does happen a lot here, especially depending on where you are in the Midwest, right? And so it's like, you wouldn't expect a farm that just got ripped up by a tornado the next day, the farmers to be out and milking the cows again or working on the crops. I mean, I guess maybe a little bit, especially depending on, what got damaged, right? Then you still need to work on their livelihood and what supports them, but for sure they would at least maybe take a little time to rest and try to rebuild everything rather than full speed ahead. Man, I gotta get back to the way things were, okay? So, treat your life and the cycle that's coming to a close as, literally you had like a tornado go through. It's okay to recuperate. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to slow down for a bit just to heal. And that's another feminine power pile. Number 3 is taking time to heal. Healing is very feminine, right? Okay. Let's look at your other oracle cards to get some more understanding and pieces of advice and or glimpses of the future. And what else is maybe closing here? Spirit, anything else you want to say to pile 3 about this cycle closing? We have a lot of spiral energy here too in your cards. Not only just the tornado, but the spiral of the ships here and the 3 of Wands. So that's another thing. It feels like instead of the sensation of going around in circles, maybe that's also part of the chaos that you've been feeling, pile 3. It's like things are going to kind of become straight and narrow again. It's not going to be, like a dog chasing its own tail, or things being chaotic and going in a million different directions at once. It's going to be this feeling of like, okay, now I have a set goal. Now I kind of know exactly where to go. It's not just everything falling apart around me. That type of sensation. All right, we have, adventure. Adventure. I'm hearing a specific message with this card, pile 3, to dream of your adventures in the future. Don't necessarily embark on them quite yet, because we do have that period of rest. You are overcoming this hardship that occurred, right? But do dream of adventures in the future. I also do want to pull just maybe one more clarification card on that. That might be related to the goals that you have in mind. Spirit, any more clarification on the adventure card? What do you exactly mean by that besides what I heard with them dreaming of adventures in the future? We do have a full moon here, which means things coming to fruition, but feeling drawn to this part of the deck. Right there. We have the Queen of Wands. Okay. Being confident. Being charismatic. We have feminine power again because we have a queen that popped out. But specifically, she's the Queen of Fire pile, number 3. It's interesting because we went from this time of all this fire and moving away from the fire element and more into the earth and water element here. But then you have a Queen of Wands come out, and she's the element of fire again. It's like fire in a different way. Especially, too, she's a queen of independence. That's how I see her. She's very self-assured. She's very confident in her path. Here's what it is, pile 3. It's not so much necessarily them saying, don't go forward with your goals here, to take this time to relax, but also take advantage of this time to relax after this chaos to plan these adventures. What is it that you want specifically, pile number 3? You might have recently been feeling a lot of pull in different directions based on what other people want. And a Queen of Wands says to herself, well, what do I want from life? What looks like adventure and what my goals are to me? Okay. So not only might this closing chapter allow you to pursue those things even more, but it allows you that time to think about what it is that you want to pursue more too. Because just because we're inactive, and this is the beauty of feminine energy, pile 3, just because we're inactive doesn't mean that nothing is going on. Still waters run deep. Sometimes a lot is going on underneath the surface, even when it feels like things are not moving. So it's a period of time like that where it's like where you come to a river and it looks very placid and calm and peaceful on the surface, but there's a lot churning underneath that is happening. Just like the seed under the soil too. There's a lot going on with that seed underneath the soil before we technically see it spring above the line of the ground, right? And then we have this search. External versus internal. Searching. Yep, a time of searching. A time of looking around after we felt like we couldn't see it all. What do I want? And that's that other message too. External versus internal. You're also moving away from so many outside influences that are trying to steer your course for you, pile 3. It's more of a time of what's my internal compass leading me to. What is my own Polaris, my own North Star? Okay. Sometimes when chaos occurs, pile 3, it's because part of it is the magic of clearing out what we no longer need. Part of it is the magic of clearing out things obscuring our view of the horizon of the possibilities of thinking about, well, what path do I really want to take forward? Sometimes chaos is actually, I don't want to say a healer. That's not the word I want to use. A revealer, a light bringer in terms of understanding of what really matters to us, of what we really want from life. Okay, that's the one. Because it clears away. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's stressful, pile 3, but it does sometimes clear away old stagnant energy too. Okay, and then we have surrender to receiving support and love. Allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. Okay, so more feminine energy again with the nurturing message. Allowing love and support in. You don't have to be so alone, pile number 3. Now, we do have that independence of the Queen of Wands, don't get me wrong. That probably does represent you, pile 3. Maybe you even are a fire sign or have a lot of fire element placement in your astrological chart. But it's like striking that balance between, I'm Mr. Independent. And, okay, but also sometimes I need love. Sometimes I need support from others. Sometimes I need to not have to handle everything myself. And maybe that's really where that chaos came from, pile 3, was you had to handle everything yourself. In which case, that's the cycle closing too, is having more outside support. Okay. Because really what that comes down to, pile 3, when we feel like we have to handle everything ourselves and we feel like everything is outside of, like it's just this mad, wild chaos, it's because we've had to kind of stand on our own without any support. So I also see that support coming in to help you feel like you can feel more confident, to help you overcome this hardship, like the 5 of Pentacles reversed indicates, to allow you to dream more about your adventure and what you want to do independently. Okay, so that also means, I think, too, more supportive people entering your life and or people in your life entering a phase themselves of being more supportive of you. Okay. It's really a time of going from things feeling like they're coming from every single direction. That's the cycle that's closing, into a time of greater understanding of where do I want to realign myself? Like that search card says. What is my North Star? What compass direction do I want to follow? Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure there aren't any other shared synchronicities here. You do have a lot of flowers. We have, of course, the Empress here. She's holding a flower. The flowers in the Queen of Wands. The flowers on the shirt of the woman here in the search card. Let's see. Any other shared imagery? Not that I can tell, at least. Okay, and at least to me, pile number 3, when I see a lot of flowers in a reading, we always kind of think of them as the fruition of a dream that we once planted, like a seed in the ground. That's another, the garden metaphor, of course, comes up a lot too, because you did have that Empress before. It's like things too finally coming to fruition that they couldn't while things were chaotic. So also expect that, the cycle closing of things feeling like, you plant seeds and it feels like, oh, just nothing's happening, nothing's coming up. It's like finally things will bloom, like all the flowers you have in your cards here. A very healthy, happy garden of leaning more into that, because you lean more into that feminine, powerful energy. Okay. Because, just like with gardening, you can't really control when things come up. You can kind of control what seed you plant. You can control where you plant it, and you can control like how much you nurture it, right? But you can't really control the seed and what it does on its own time. Okay. So that's another thing, is as long as you lean into, in the near future here, pile 3, into that power of patience, into that power of, okay, I'll allow things to wait a bit, you'll be rewarded because of that. Okay, so view your life in this near future more as a time to garden your goals, to garden yourself, nurture yourself. What needs attention? What needs care? What needs time? And as long as you view life in that way and use that as your compass in this near future, I think you're going to find a lot of these positive things come to fruition, okay? Just like flowers in a garden, especially after a time of chaos. That's not fun. But I do see better things coming for you here in the near future because of that, especially in terms of your hardships. Those are coming to an end there because of that 5 of Pentacles as the outcome reversed. Beautiful. So, that was your reading for today, my wonderful pile number 3. More of an internal kind of chapter closing. Of course, though, there will be outside physical effects. There always are, mirrored from internal struggles and our strides that we make. There's always kind of a ripple effect on the outside, too. But I do see this as more of, like I said, an internal work and internal changes. Most of it, other than, of course, receiving more support and love outside of yourself, right? But that's about the only external element I'm seeing here. Most of it's internal, so beautiful. Your healing chaos pile number 3. All right, so if you liked the reading, and of course, most of all, if it helped you, please like the video. Please comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And as I always say in our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.